Welcome to the England Rugby Pod. Thanks for downloading episode 29, the Lions' third test against the All Blacks and the series decider. They made history, but perhaps not the way you'd expect. You're listening to the England Rugby Pod, the rugby podcast that believes England will win the World Cup in 2019. Hey guys, welcome back. It's episode 29. It is the Lions Test Series decider against the All Blacks. It is huge. I'm here with Dan. Hello, mate.
Morning, mate. Jesus Christ, this is a test match and a half. I mean, this is absolutely insane, the pace this has been played at. And Maro Itoje he's not even human. He's a superhero.
He is a superhero. The
guy is immense.
Yeah, if only someone could come up with like a theme tune for him.
Well, I just can't even think of anything. But it's such a, I like the pace. We are, let's not piss about. We are quite lucky for it actually potentially not to be more points. The All Blacks are absolutely on fire. Like, not on fire because they're making mistakes, but they are playing at a pace that's unrecognizable in international sport. Everyone must be knackered, mate. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm so like hyped up just by watching the All Blacks play.
Yeah, they're playing at a very quick pace for sure. They've made a lot of handling errors. I mean, they've probably thrown away 4 try-scoring opportunities. That's on them. The fact is that the Lions, are within a converted try of them right now. They were within a lot less. Than that, not that long ago. But they let them in just at the end of the half there. But the Lions are improving. You can see the improvement, whereas the All Blacks have come out at this super fast pace. They haven't seemed to be able to cope with that pace themselves. That I think is their big problem right now. They've almost come out, over excited, and they're playing too quickly for themselves, and that's why the errors are occurring. And the Lions just need to capitalise on that. You've got to think that the All Blacks are going to go in at half time. They're going to have their chat and they're going to come out probably a little bit more composed. The Lions need to come out twice as composed. There have been errors on the Lions side. Owen Farrell, we love him. We love him dearly, but he's not had the best start. Obviously, he's kicked his points. That's key. As long as he keeps doing that, that's good. But he seems to lack the composure that he's sort of. That we
just
know
known
him for. Yeah,
that's exactly who he is, Mr. Sort of cool, Mr. Calm. But yeah, I agree. He's there's something not quite firing with him.
Well, that early interception.
I'm still glad he's on the pitch. But
yeah, no, I am too at the moment. And obviously with Sexton, I mean, I'm not really sure why Sexton's still on the pitch because when we saw him on the ground, he looked like he had a broken leg or something. He was complaining so much about it, and then the next thing I hear the commentary say, and kick through from Sexton. I thought, hang on, no, they got that wrong. He must have gone off, but no, he's still there at the moment. So it's a difficult one, isn't it? The 10-12 Sexton Farrell thing worked last week, but maybe that had to do with the fact that they had the extra man. Part of me does wonder whether, I don't know. It's difficult because you can't say it's not working yet because it is still close. They're very much still in this game at half time, and despite all the chat over the past week saying that the All Blacks are going to come out and absolutely dick them because of what happened last weekend, and and they're not.
The word you're looking for is blacklash.
Blacklash, correct. But it hasn't been the blacklash you predicted yet. Yes, it's fast paced. Yes, it's incredibly intense. But the Lions are definitely holding their own, aided, of course, by some handling errors from the All Blacks, but. Those things happen, so you can't really. There's no point in reacting to that. They just need to do their thing. I don't know. It's still wide open for sure. I still have confidence. I think it's because it feels like the Lions are just kind of growing with every minute.
We can win this.
Yeah, I think as the Lions improve and the All Blacks stay the same, that there will come a point, hopefully, where the Lions kind of take over, and it's just a couple of opportunities can turn this game around.
It's yeah, exactly. We need a different half. If the All Blacks keep playing at this pace, they're going to start putting in some points. We need, like you say, I 100% agree with what you just said. We need to come out more composed than them, and if we do, I think we've got a really good chance. We need to sort of play our game because, yeah, they are saying handling errors, but if you play at that pace and that thing, there's bound to be more errors because it's just so quick, so intense.
Yeah,
these guys must be absolutely fucking knackered. I mean, I don't remember the last time I saw a game of rugby this intense. It's the Lions have got a few absolute heroes out there. Maro Toje for a start. My God, the guy's literally my hero. Jonathan Davis. Top game. I think Warburton's having a great game.
They're the three I've got written down. They're the three I've got written down in my tick column. I've got Farrell and Williams in my cross column at the moment.
You're such a geek. But it's yeah. There are a few people who really stand up. Like, I don't think, like Maro Toje didn't do bad last week, but for him, he didn't have a great game. I mean, this week, he's just a man on a mission, but it's the second half is going to be tough work. Like, people are going to be absolutely blown. I hope Gatland uses our subs well. Like you say, if people aren't quite right, like, even if it's a slight niggle, I think you have to bring on a sub. I think the game's too quick, too intense not to have people 100%.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
I don't think you can carry an injury.
Okay, quick question for you then from the first half. Kieran Reid goes down. He's clearly taken a knock to the head. We know it's a knock to the head because we've seen the replays. He's down for about 5 minutes but getting treatment. Why has he not gone off for an HIA?
No idea, mate. No idea. Maybe just because he's the hardest man alive. But yeah, you should. Like,
isn't that the point of the HIA, to determine that he's the hardest man alive?
Yeah. Well, I think that's exactly it. I'm sitting here with, I'm watching it with the shortest, angriest South African man alive, and he's got a head the size of a dog, but he's like we said exactly the same. We're like, hang on, do you choose if you have an HIA? Surely that's not up to you, because how that wasn't an HIA, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're not going to complain about them whether they've got their players on the pitch, because that's the team we're looking to beat. So it was just interesting. Yeah, I would have expected that was a legal requirement in the game these days, that for something like that, particularly when it's clearly a head injury that he's been looked at for on the pitch. It's like, come on, off you go and get your assessment done. But anyway, he didn't go off the pitch. But nevertheless, I think yes, just the summary for this first half has to be that. The Lions, they've got a little bit lucky at times, but they've held their own. They haven't let the game get away from them. They're very much still in this, and all is very much still to play for.
Mate, it's this second half of rugby. I can't. Like, I use the expression "can't wait so much." It's just a brilliant game of rugby. Like, if you're a neutral fan, you're like, this is a great game of rugby. As a massive Lions fan, which we both are, obviously, it's a bit more, there's probably a bit more emotion involved, but just as a rugby fan, I'm enjoying this a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, well, just before we leave and go back to watch the second half then, do we want to see Tio on?
Yeah.
It's a different game if he comes on, different game plan.
Yeah, it is a different game. I still think I want to see him. I don't really have the answers as to why. In my head, I just think he might add something.
Right, well, let's find out if that happens, and if it does, if it works.
And Courtney Smasham Laws as well.
Oh, yeah,
but all right, bud. Yeah, let's go back, watch it, and we'll catch up full time.
Sounds good. Speak to you then. Hey guys, welcome back. Wow, what a second half, Dan.
What the hell can we say about that, mate? I mean, that was. Like, this tour will go down in history. This will be an absolutely legendary sort of moment about the Lions. First things first, unlucky All Blacks. The All Blacks played really well. Probably, if we're honest, probably deserved it. But what grit, what determination from the Lions. That was
awesome. I mean, two things. Firstly, were the Kiwis robbed at the end with that penalty
I think that was a penalty.
Well, when he went upstairs, the guy even said, "Yes, I agree, penalty," and then he went over and said scrum. It was bizarre.
It was one of the most sort of scrum. So in theory, do you know what? I need to check. I need to check the laws.
I think he said accidental offside, therefore it was a scrum, not a penalty. But I don't,
I think the All
Kieran
Blacks
Reid was obviously saying the rules say accidental or not, it's still a penalty.
Yeah, I don't understand why it's not a penalty. I must admit, I don't. I say I'm happy. I'm not happy because I don't want the All Blacks to be done out because they're a brilliant team. They play brilliant rugby. But hey, it is what it is. But the credit I give for Lions, just their grit, their determination to hold on to that. And what I loved, Kieran Reid and Sam Warburton at the end, where they just, that mutual respect, that is what it is.
It's a really weird one. I'm very torn. Like and I know that it's the same. It seems to be the same feeling out there in the stands and stuff. I don't know whether I'm happy that that's a hell of a result, given that a lot of the pundits were saying 3-0 to the All Blacks, and actually it was 1.5 all. Or so am I happy that they've come away without losing to the All Blacks, or do we feel almost slightly robbed and because the win was there for either side. There was a break. Yeah. There was a break right at the end. It was scrum. It was a New Zealand scrum. The Lions were dominating it. The ball came out. Reece Webb made a little break, pass inside. You're thinking, if this goes to hand, get it to Daly. This is a try. This is, and then suddenly the ball just got knocked on.
Yeah. It was hugely frustrating, but and you're right. Like that potentially could have been. On the balance of the game, the All Blacks deserved that, but they didn't win. Like it is the result is the result, and I think just the defence of the Lions, I think, was brilliant. I think some of those players put in absolutely gigantic effort. Like Mara Toja, I thought had a great game. But Jonathan Davis was absolutely awesome. Mate, I genuinely. It hasn't really sunk in. I mean, we've drawn a Lion series in New Zealand. That is an incredible achievement.
Yeah.
And I've loved every second of every test. It's been brilliant. The rugby play today was just at times beyond comprehension. Like the speed, the physicality, just the absolute determination to win from both sides was amazing.
Yeah, I'm a little bit lost for words. It was epic, no question. It's obviously disappointing that there wasn't a result. It's obviously disappointing that there wasn't a result in the Lions' favour. The All Blacks managed to score 3 points in that second half. That was it.
I don't really know how that happened. Until you said that hadn't even occurred to me. But it's right, and it's. I mean,
second half was 9-3 Lions, first half 12-6 All Blacks,
and it's a great game. And I mean, the Lions, I think, like when it was Kano, wasn't it, who got sin bin, which again I thought was actually a little harsh on him, if I'm honest. But I said that.
I said that when I saw the live part of it, and then when they showed the replay, and it was like not intentional, but. The simple fact was it was an forearm, but straight to the face, and the rules are pretty clear on that now.
Yeah, they are. But when it's not intentional in such a physical game, I'm quite conflicted by this because I understand you have to look after player welfare first and foremost. Of course you do, but it's also a physical game. It's a brutal game. There's gonna be that stuff. It was a penalty, but I thought a yellow card was a bit harsh. But either way, the Lions didn't capitalise on that anywhere near as much as they probably should have tried to.
No, well, they made too many mistakes following it, and they had a few opportunities, and it seemed to be that every time they'd made 3, 4, 5, 6 phases, made good ground, were looking strong, some sort of silly area, a little knock on, a forward pass. Although, having said that forward pass was not forward. The little flick out the back from Anthony Watson.
Yeah, I think so the angle I saw it from, when I saw it, I was like, that's not forward. But then you're it's hard to know because you only see, you don't always see there's always a different angle.
Okay, but I think it's you were the one that said to me that I'm pretty sure we've brought this up before, and you said to me that there's an allowance for drift. So if you pass the ball backwards, but because of your momentum,
if it comes out of your hand backwards, it's not a forward pass.
Well, Anthony Watson flicked it out of the back of his hand. Backwards out of the back of his hand.
Yeah, no, fair enough. That's probably a fair point.
I think that was pretty unfortunate. I think, ref didn't do brilliantly tonight. I think, don't get me wrong, I didn't feel like he favoured one side over the other. I thought he made errors on both sides, but it wasn't the best performance from the referee.
There were a few times I thought, yeah, I agree. There were a few times I was a bit like, really?
I think, all in all, I guess you have to walk away from this and say, look, result. Someone like Sam Warburton is an unbeaten Lions captain in 2 tours.
It's to draw with you. It didn't occur to me this would happen.
No.
This is the thing. It just didn't occur to me. I believed the result one way, but to travel down to New Zealand as a Lions of the best team in the world, arguably the best team ever, and get a draw from a Lions tour is just epic. Guys, well done, boys. Awesome. Great result. Great rugby. Yes, obviously it's disappointing, but then if you're a Kiwi at the moment, you're also thinking we probably should have won that.
Yeah. I mean, so just before the game, I actually sent you a message saying that I had a funny feeling it wasn't going to be close. And clearly I was right. Because the one thing that absolutely is not close is a dead heat.
Yeah. Well, that's one way to try and cover yourself. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but the message not going to be close, and I was worried after sort of 20 minutes or so. I was worried. I was thinking, Jesus Christ, are the All Blacks going to run away with this? But the Lions just hung on and clawed their way back into every situation. Those guys have, to a man, done themselves proud.
Yeah, definitely.
That is just absolute everything on the line to get that result. And I think they deserve it purely for that, just by the determination and grit they showed. I think that's why I'm happy that it's a fair result.
Yeah. So a big question for you then. Has Warren Gatland vindicated himself?
Okay, you can go fucking so. I don't has Warren Gatland vindicated himself? I don't think so. Like we said when we did the Warren Gatland episode, he is a good coach. He genuinely is a good rugby coach. I still don't believe he's done a good Lions tour. I think this is down to the players, 100%. I don't think the coaching staff can sort of walk away like we engineered that. I think that is just down to pure doggedness from every man from England, Ireland, Wales and Scotland. I know a lot's been said about the Scottish guys not playing their part. They did play their part. Seymour, Laidlaw, it's a tour, it's a squad. The Scottish guys definitely played part. So I think it was down to every player on that tour rather than the coaching staff.
Yeah. Well, we tweeted before the game, intense, aggressive, clinical, disciplined. The Lions, it's there if you want it. You just got to go out and get it. And I think they've ticked most of those boxes. And to be fair, they've just come up short. But it's in some ways it's
but did they come up short? Did they come up short?
I think so.
Or is that a result?
No, I mean look, it's not a loss, as Sam Warburton said after the game. It's better than a loss. But I think the Lions were good enough to win. Not specifically today. I do think they were good enough to win today, but I think they are a good enough team to beat the All Blacks team, and therefore, I think a win was a genuine reality, a genuine possibility. All this sort of chat about you can't beat the All Blacks and Blacklash and all that other rubbish spouting. I think the reality is or was that the game was there to be won. And they did most of what they needed to do. I think the clinical was probably the one area where there were just that handful too many errors, that meant that opportunities went awry. And I know the All Blacks were the same, probably far more so.
Oh, today, definitely.
But that's on them. We're talking about us. So I think that's the one area where the Lions perhaps let themselves down slightly today. But I thought they looked strong, they looked aggressive, they looked intense. And the discipline was much, much better.
I haven't seen the stats, but it seemed to be a hell of a lot better. Like, it must be twice as good as it was last week.
4-3 New Zealand at Lions at half time. I haven't seen what it was at full time, but I can't imagine. Just from watching, I don't think the Lions gave away more penalties in the second half than they did in the first.
No, I don't think so. I think they were.
I would assume it was single figures, which is the key, isn't it? It's what everyone always says.
Yeah, absolutely. I genuinely don't know how I feel like right now. I think overall I'm really happy, and I do think, like, do you know what? I love watching the All Blacks play. They are a quality side, like, really good, and they've got some brilliant players. The Barrett family can produce some rugby players.
They can.
They can produce some fairly useful players, and just New Zealand as a whole, but. I think the Lion, like, it is patronising me saying it's not my place today, but I'm just so proud of them. Like, I'm just so proud of that, what they did, like how they represented us as fans.
Yeah. I feel like the Lions tour deserves another episode. I don't feel like we can end it here because it's just happened and it's kind of these mixed feelings. So I feel like we need to do a proper episode, maybe on Tuesday, and just kind of really look back over the whole tour and maybe spend a little bit more time on this game when we've had a chance to digest it and hear all the post-game interviews and just kind of fully accept whether we're happy with the result or not, and the reasons and just, so I think we should definitely come back to it and have another look. I don't think it's done yet. But yeah, I guess reaction after the game, I don't feel let down. I don't feel disappointed, but I'm also not overjoyed. So it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? It's sort of it's that weird, slightly muted thing where you kind of think, is that good? Are we happy with it? I'm not unhappy. I don't really know. So,
do you know what this reminds me of? I went to a silent German rave last night. I didn't know what to make of it. This is basically exactly the same thing.
Fair enough. Well,
I'll tell you more about that after, like, when we're on the phone later. But it's just you can't. But I think you're right. Definitely, let's do a sort of full review come Tuesday when we've had a bit of time to reflect, a bit of time to sort of maybe watch the game again, do a bit of analysis. Because at the moment, I'm the same. I think overall, I feel proud to be a Lions fan.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, on that note, we're going to leave it. Lions, All Blacks, 15 all in the third test, the series decider. The series has obviously ended in a draw. On the one hand, hell of a result. On the other hand, disappointing not to win the series. Lots to digest. But we will be back. We really appreciate your support. Please check out the website, www.englandrugbypod.com. Go onto iTunes, rate us, review us. And if you have any questions, if there's anything you want us to discuss, if there are any points you think we've completely missed that you think we need to know about, get in touch on social media at England Rugby Pod. Twitter's probably your best bet there. But we're also on Facebook and Instagram. And we'll be back on Tuesday, where I think it's only right to give the Lions tour a bit more of a detailed synopsis, if you like. We'll see you then.
All right, catch you later, guys. Cheers.
Take care.